Hey folks, my name is Second Lieutenant Soxloot from the Armored 3 Unit, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. Today, we'll be going over leadership fundamentals and tactics of fireteam squad leader positions. Our initial focus will be exploring fire teams and the operations of fire team leaders. By now, each of us should possess a fundamental grasp of the composition of a fire team. This program aims to equip you with a profound understanding of your role within this unit, culminating in a comprehensive assessment. Successful completion will grant you the capability to assume leadership in a role within our esteemed 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. Fireteam leaders are responsible for welfare, morale, discipline of a four-man team, responsible for individual training and maintenance of their equipment, primary instructor and advisor in matters of tactics, personnel management, and junior leadership development. Directs his team in tactical employment during offensive and defensive operations. Responsible for the accountability of team members and equipment. As a team leader, consult awareness of your team members and equipment is critical during ACE reports in gathering understanding of ammo, casualties, and equipment. In situations where team members are running low on ammo and others are sufficient magazines, it is crucial to instruct your team to pass around ammo. This ensures that every member maintains a constant ability to engage in the firefight. Encourage shared supplies and gear within your team. Prioritize assistance to other teams only if absolutely necessary. Emphasize mutual support with your team while maintaining a strategic limitations on aid to other teams. Keep a constant count of your fire teams, noting 4 members in each fire team, including yourself. If one member becomes a casualty, WIA, it reduces a team's firepower, 2 members down, and your team is effectively combat ineffective. In such cases, promptly communicate with your status of your team to your leadership, and adopt a defensive and provide aid. Highlight significant of equipment, especially weapon systems like LATs, for maintaining combat effectiveness against armored targets. Ensure you communicate the status and equipment, including remaining LATs and ACE reports, and keep squad leaders informed. So let's touch briefly on formations, particularly the standard fire team formations in response to squad leader commands like squad online, fire team wedge. So this would be a squad online fire team wedge. Notice how the squad is within a line, but each team is in a wedge formation. This helps with flanking maneuvers, maneuvering the squad as a squad leader. You can do a lot of things with this. You can do bounding, all that stuff. Each thing's gonna change, but in the fact, usually within Arma, we are not fighting in a linear formation, but people like to take linear formations in Arma to get the most guns online, which agreed, it's a starting firepower position. Um, but I'd recommend for squad online in Arma, we usually use it for SBFs or something, just because with these positions you'll be able to make um, fire team flanks and squad flanks, and there's just an open opportunities, and you don't always have to play on a linear plane. That's a huge thing for team leaders and maybe even squad leaders to know. But essentially, that's that. Adapt swiftly to align with your squad while maintaining a wedge formation within your fire team. At practical scenarios such as patrolling down streets, your squad leader may instruct a squad column fire team wedge for a faster pace, yet ensuring an enhanced 360 security. If contact is made when you organize a fire team during the movement, keep in mind that your ultimate goal is to position as many team members as possible with their weapons aimed at the enemy, even in indoor settings. So that's things like possibly running the rabbit, popping, all that kind of like small unit, small team tactics within a team to maintain fire security. And the role of a fire team leader, exercise control over designated sections of the battlefield, is crucial. particularly in the mount operations, operating with your team within optimal capability, lethality, and becoming the linchpin of success in a dynamic, challenging environments. Giving your guys TRPs, and from your squad leader, he might give you sections to cover, but really organizing your area of the battlefield, that little section of the battlefield, to your domain. Getting high priority targets, engaging mass areas, looking at areas where troops will walk through natural lines of drift. Having your AT guy look at a road in case a mechanized infantry support comes in. Just being able to get on that. That's all very highly anticipated things for team leaders to be tracking on. As a fire team leader, swift and effective reactions to contact are paramount. Prioritizing maneuvers that grant your team fire superiority rapid is consent imperative. Equally crucial is perspective of surprise. Even when the enemy is aware of your presence, avoid exposing your team's silhouettes to the enemy in observation by monitoring a low profile on hills, utilizing defilade positions against your target and your known enemy locations. Emphasize of the significance of avoiding skylining as it compromises your team and its concealment. Instead, strategically position yourselves on lower terrain features, ensuring tactical advantage when gathering intelligence or assessing areas. And lift your head up to maintain situational awareness, allowing for information decisions making that can dramatically alter your team's approach. So notice how in this frame we have a fire team. Um, there's another squad. The rest of the squad is right behind, but the fire team knows the position of the enemy. Sometimes we don't, but really, realistically, the only people that need to be poking their heads over this hill and just monitoring what's on the other side is a team leader. Uh, every once in a while, he's just going up and just checking. You know, if you have your whole team crest a hill, you're gonna see 4 heads pop up. Do that in a squad-sized element, and you're gonna see an entire squad popping up. So now the enemy knows exactly where you are, and they know exactly what kind of force they're at least going to be dealing with. Even if they don't see all of your guys, they're just going to know that, I've seen 6 people. There's probably a squad on the other side. So limit your movement, but always keep your eyes everywhere. Fireteam scouting holds a pivotal significance in our unit, serving as a crucial impact on the enemy. The primary objective is to swiftly and discreetly gather intelligence and emphasize strategic movement of our team to scouting positions. The challenge often lies in positioning the team effectively. As a team leader, reaching the release point, marking crucial junctures, and bringing the fire team close to a required position, and executing a brief halt, individuals guide each troop to their designated spot. Enhancing the success of infiltration, consider leaving an automatic rifleman or grenadier at a recon point to provide effective suppression if compromised. Well, if getting compromised occurs. Allowing the remaining forces to respond effectively, leverage the skill of designated marksmen to use their scopes for targeting, marking, or range finders for precision. Ensure concealment during the approach to the recon point is paramount, avoiding danger areas and danger crossings while maintaining a low silhouette. Furthermore, meticulous marking of observed details is essential. Highlight enemy locations, fortified positions, and priority targets. Identify potential target reference points, TRPs, as we just talked about, for your team to elevate terrain stability for attack by fire lanes. Our support by fire locations will be mindful for unavailable terrain. So sometimes, not always, does SPFs completely cover your element. Um, such as dense vegetation and hazardous slopes. Lastly, gathered numerical data by counting enemy individuals, EI, to establish a baseline of understanding of the adversary and preparing to engage. This comprehensive approach ensures that the fire team and scouting mission is not only successful, but contributes significantly to the broader unit objectives. So, uh, at this point, it is the SOP for recon to be engaged. And every time we go on an operation, we should gain our reconnaissance. And in our unit, we're trying to make these scouting teams very, very tactically proficient. So when they come back, the battle is over within minutes. All right, next section is squad leading. Squad leaders. Qualities of an effective squad leader. A squad leader inspires their troops and their teams, nurturing strong relationships and fostering growth. They oversee operations at a tactical and troop level. They also can go over that tactical troop level. Um, they're highly regarded in their squads, and they have a strong tactical basis in their operations. So they know their operation, they know what they're supposed to do in the operation, and they know exactly what tactics they can do in the operation. This is what the leadership course will go over. A huge note for squad leading is before you step off, or if you gain reconnaissance beforehand, before you enter into that objective area, make sure your squad is able to attack or defend against the enemy that it may be going up against. If you're going up against a mechanized infantry unit, make sure you have enough lats, make sure you have hats, make sure you have the ability to defend yourself against mechanized infantry. You know, make sure that when you're doing a night vision, that all your guys have their gear. Yes, it's a team leader's responsibility to check their guys, but it is also your responsibility to check your team leaders and still check their teams. You know, people mess up. You are the ultimate supervisor. That's what makes you one of the most crucial elements of, or I'd even say, I'd go as far as say that the most important individual in the entire platoon is the squad leaders. If the platoon leader goes down, the platoon sergeant steps in. The platoon sergeant goes down, the platoon, well, the squad leaders step in. But the issue is, even if you're separated, even if you don't have connection with the platoon, you as a squad can still act individually, and you can form and change the battlefield as you see it. All right. Next is squad formation analysis. So this is when we're going to go into obviously formations and the uses of formations. Um, I will allow you guys to act within confines of your area, and especially if you're going out on patrol and you're by yourself, it's just a squad patrol or squad ambush. You guys need to know this stuff. So first things first is um, the squad file. So you know the good thing about the squad file is you have very, very good protection on your flanks. So if the enemy were to attack you, you'd be able to pretty much get everyone online very quickly. Um, you can move through dense like terrain. So if we're going through like thick jungles and stuff, sometimes it's better to organize your guys into a squad file and just walk through. Um, but this is really you really only want to use that for when you know that you're not going to be engaging the enemy. And it's super super easy for you as a squad leader to control this formation. Um, you know, you can move your guys around and all that stuff pretty easily. Um, the issue is ambushes from the rear. I mean, well, I'll do an ambush from the front too, front and rear. But let's say you're walking down this road and there is an enemy EI right here, and they engage you with a machine gun position. Um, what we're gonna have to do is walk these guys over to this area and walk these guys over to this area, so that you have fire team online at this point. Well, the issue is it takes time for this rear fire team to get here, and it takes a little bit more time to get here. You can have a mass gas already. You could have just brewed one up right now. It is very like crucial to have movement in operations, and sometimes squad files, even with their ability to not be able to that defensive from the front and back, are still very reliable in those terms. The next battlefield analysis is going to be our squad online formation. So again, I mentioned it with the team leaders. This formation right here is pretty much going to be squad online. Say that we're establishing an SBF point to the town of La Peste. Uh, but essentially, it's going to have the same uh, pros and cons when it comes to squad file. So you'll have a ton of firepower from the front. Maybe though, not usually on the rear, because you have most of your guy. Like this is a main position to engage from. When you have an engagement for the rear, either you're usually pinched or um, they've gotten close and there's only one guy spotting them, or there's that you're starting to get engaged. You're already taking casualties. Another issue is obviously the same thing when it comes to squad file. Um, Enemy EI attacks from your left flanks and right flanks. Um, you're gonna have to position your team to those areas, and it takes a little bit more time. It can really hurt the team. Um, but I'm not gonna dive really too much into it. And again, the main thing to know for this is that when you want fire superiority on certain areas, it is very effective. It is very effective. But because of a linear approach, if there's flanks, it's not as effective. So use it in conjunction with other squads. All right, next things next is squad column. So squad column is kind of like the build up and the mix of the squad line and the squad file. So it's kind of the even bridge, the even gap, if you will. It's gonna have the same issues as squad online, squad file, but to a lessened approach. So here, we'll go back to the original area. So you want your column staggered with your fire team staggered. Excuse me. Always move in fire team formations. Don't move in just a we're gonna get everyone online and we're gonna walk in a column formation. It's great for movement, but that's a second contact hits. You're having a little bit of an issue. Let's say a machine gun position opens up from this building instead of originally where it's this fire team, this one's moving to get here, this one's moving to get here. You have a basis of fire. So at all times, these two teams can engage direct front. At all times, this team can engage to the direct rear, and this one can turn around and also engage the direct rear. Your flanks are uh, pretty covered, and they're obviously more effective on flanking fire. But the main thing too is that it's just sometimes it works better, but it always depends on. It's always situational dependent. You can use a squad column as much as you want, but there's definitely gonna be times to do squad line, squad file instead of squad column. But I'd naturally lean towards a squad column formation. All right, next things next is going to be our movement techniques. So when you're maneuvering your squad, and there's a couple, but and they're not really too hard. Um, you can get a pretty basic understanding of things pretty quickly. First thing we're going to start off with is traveling. So you usually keep about 20-meter spacing between teams. And this is great for when, again, you don't think there's enemy contact or enemy contact is minimal. It's not a reconnaissance formation. If you're doing recon, stay away from this. Um, but it's really good for speed and it's pretty good for control. You can organize your team like this. If you do take contact, you can organize your teams, telling, "Hey, split left, split right," you know, or team two split left, team three split right. The issue is dispersion. That's a huge one. You could disperse these guys out a little bit, but we'll go into a later topic in sense to describe why that's not usually as effective. Alrighty. This is going to be a great formation for recon, and this is going to be called traveling overwatch technique. Um, usually, usually you're going to use this when you anticipate enemy. The enemy is in the area. This is not a safe area to be walking through. So usually your squad build-up obviously is your assault team, your security team, your support team, and you could throw these around. You can mix them up if you want. Sometimes it's better to have dedicated teams, but that's right now squad leader dependent. But essentially, if you notice, there's this gap. So you're gonna do about a 50-meter gap between your assault team and your security team. Keep your support and your security close, because what happens is when this enemy machine gun position engages the assault team, um, they act as almost like the forward reconnaissance. They can give the call out. They can say, "Hey, uh, contact front, 50 meters, machine gun position." Uh, give their ADRACs and all that stuff. And as a squad leader, it is very, very easy to start maneuvering flanks. So you're already saying, "Hey, team two, flank left. Team three, flank left." So they're gonna pull up here, and you'll have team three, your support team, push up and start an actual flank on these guys. While the assault team, usually the one who take contact, unless there's obviously like they take casualties, they're combat ineffective. All right, next things next. This is a very, very crucial thing. It's very well implemented in combat situations where you're taking a lot of fire, you have the most coverage, and can easily get concealment. But essentially, what's going to happen is it's bounding overwatch. So whoever sees the enemy first, you can have your team bounding completely together. So this team moves up to this position. This team's gonna run over to this position. You know, try not to do suicide runs. Great thing is running to the Diddy. I'm up, you see me, I'm down. So I'm up, you're running. They see me. The enemy has actively seen you. Doesn't matter if they actually see you. It's just a great thing to have in your head. You're just saying it. And then I'm down, meaning you're behind cover or you're kissing the dirt and you're providing suppression. Because essentially, if you're running faster than that, it gives the enemy time to just shoot you. It's great having a moving target, being a moving target, but it's not great when it's an accurate moving target. Essentially, these guys are going to bound, and the second someone takes contact or sees contact, so let's say Team 2 has identified contact in this area, they're going to start to engage. That means the other teams want to start bounding up towards that position. The second they stop and start engaging, they're going to say set. You can say that over the squad net too, because you are acting in a team element. Saying set, so team 3 is set. That means that team 2 can bound. Team 2 bounds. Team 1 is up. They see me, I'm down. So can't even make it. Let's say we're about there. Try to bound past the team. Sometimes that doesn't happen. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. They up, they see me, I'm down. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. So they're providing support, and then they'll come in. This is a perfect pincer and great SBF, great SBF, great attack by fire. And they can pull in and they'll be like, hey, team 2 entering building so and so, first floor. That means these two can still engage that second floor. And then once they start moving to second floor, they go start moving to second floor. Well, moving second floor. Team 2 moving second floor. These teams can either stop firing or they can shift firing. Let's say that there's another enemy position. They can start focusing more on that so that this team can take it. Second, these guys take it. Again, back to bounding. And then bam, you've taken this area. So bounding is a great effective tool. But as a squad leader, sometimes you lose control of it. As a team leader, it's very effective because you're just looking at the team in front of you. Because you're supposed to either get to that team or bound past that team. Great for breaking contact too. Um, let's say there's a BMP here and we don't have AT and they have dismounts. Having one team bound back, the other team bound back, while always having one team suppressing fire until you guys get back. And yeah, pretty rudimentary concept, and it's very effective. But squad leaders, really prepare yourself because it is a this one is the most difficult to contain and support. Um, you can love your flanks and stuff. You can get really good with traveling Overwatch, but this is a different beast. All right, last thing specifically designed for squad leaders, the squad ambush. So we're just gonna go over your natural ambush. So let's say in this town right here, we're expecting a mechanized infantry unit to come through, squad. Um, and they're going to be heading toward, intel says they're heading towards this bus station, right? You can also do this on stationary targets. It does not matter that does not have to be moving. But essentially, you guys are going to take your main. You're gonna take a book side of the book from a platoon leader side. So the platoon leader will actually give you the platoon brief of, hey, we need to go out here, or it can even be from you. Let's say that you have a drone operator in your squad that sees something, and now you've rated up command, and they said, hey, we need you to do this. So it will all start with a team reconnaissance. So you're going to have one team, specifically usually with a squad leader. You want to have the squad leader with this, or at least have the squad leader looking through a drone. Um, they're going to pop down and they're going to check out possible SBF points. So this could be a good SBF point, and then an attack by fire points. They're also going to look for areas of where to mark, where to put, if you have engineers attached with you, having your engineers put up claymore charges or mines, AT mines on the road. And then essentially, I skipped the part. Coming over here, you are going to, we'll put a warning. Um, this is going to be your rally point. Your objective rally point is up here, or your release point, excuse me. Your release point is going to be up here. So you're going to make it to the release point, and this is within, out of sight, but within hearing of the objective. This is going to, the ORP, here, we'll do a quick change to that. Whatever. The ORP is going to be without a sight and sound of the objective. So within sound, out of sight, out of sight, out of sound. So when you get here, you're going to make this the rally point, and then we'll actually move this into the tree line a little bit because you want to disguise yourself. Sometimes it's not always the greatest things. You might be hiding yourself behind a hill, but it is very important when you're infilling into rally points or P points to hide yourself from like drones, hide yourself from like natural lines of drift. Stay off these service and main roads. So this is a main MSR. So you want to stay off these service roads and you want to stay off these main MSRs, unless obviously you're making your ambush point. So actually, we're gonna move this release point to the buildings. So you've kind of camouflaged yourself a little bit. If you've hit yourself, you're waiting for the enemy. You get intel. We think this is a good attack by fire. So you'll send. You'll usually leave about 2 guys, maybe an engineer here, in case things change. They can let you know what's going on. As a squad leader, another, let's say like another person, always bring another person with you. Go back to the ORP. From there, you're going to grab your guys and you're going to go to the release point, or you could tell them, if you trust your guys, to meet you at the release point. But you go back, you're going to come back with them, and you guys are going to set up an SBF that has a lateral line down the objective. Well, down your kill box, because this is your kill box right here. This is where the fight's going to happen. This is where you're going to kill the enemy at. So this is where all your charging will be. Your engineer is going to mark all the charges in the area. He's going to let the squad leader know. Your squad leader, as a squad leader, you're going to go through teams and you're going to let them know, hey, this is your sector of fire. Hey, this is your sector of fire. And hey, this is your sector of fire. Notice that some of them are overlapping. You want overlapping sectors of fire. You want people to have the same engagement points. And what you want even more is having these, actually, I'll change this one. Having your sectors of fire in main areas where you think the most damage is going to be done. So I'd say right here, right at the very beginning, is where you should count on the most damage being done. This mechanized infantry comes through. You hit it right here. That's the best place to hit it. But the main thing is killing it in the kill box. They dismount. We shoot them up. And then what your assault team's going to do is going to push across. They're going to do an LOA at about 15 meters past the objective. So this is going to be your LOA. They're going to assault across the objective. So go through the enemy contact. They are then going to set up security on this side. Your security team is going to come through and assault through the objective. Let's get rid of a couple of these. They're gonna assault through, so they're gonna usually your security has your lats too, where you're if you have a tat attached. So throw your hats and lats into this team for sure. And they're gonna check your MSR and they're gonna assault through. And then your final team, your SBF, is gonna come meet over here, but they're gonna EPW check. So they're gonna check the equipment. They're gonna make sure that everything's destroyed and make sure that there's no one left essentially. From there, you're all gonna get together and you're gonna bug out to the ORP or a pre-established rally point. Usually, you don't want to go back towards the same ORP that you left from, but this was defended a couple minutes ago. But you usually want to grab a different rally point, let's say over here, and you guys rally, and you let the platoon leader know, hey, we just did our squad assault. The enemy had one mechanized infantry group, a BMP-1 with dismounts. We have destroyed the dismount and the BMP, and have fallen back to RP so and so, waiting on further command. So essentially, your mission is over. You're going to establish security at this rally point, and you're going to wait for higher echelon command to pass down a key. But do not stay in your ambush area. Get the hell out.